Scanning. Identity authorized. Welcome to the Secret Superhero Club Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Animation Station Podcast, your home for discussions and debates about all things animation. Each week, we'll rank, review, and revel in animated shows from yesterday and today, and from around the world. So grab your Acme slingshot, set your mobile suit to autopilot, and put on your mouse ears. The Animation Station Podcast begins now.
Escape room that we went to,
yeah,
was so cool. It was actually, this one was actually designed for two people, unlike the first one we did, which was probably designed for like at least four people, and it was called Dinner for Two.
Nice.
So it's like you're kind of at a table for two at a restaurant and in a private room, and it was awesome. This one was more about solving puzzles than putting together clues and you know, reaching the next point. It was about, I mean, you had to put together clues, but you really had to solve puzzles to get the next thing unlocked or open, and then it would be another puzzle. And so we really, man, it was so much fun.
Yeah,
we were so pumped afterwards, and we made it out with almost 10 minutes to spare.
Nice. Yeah, Charlie was telling me last night about it, and she said that like they're like constantly watching you. So
yeah,
if you
it
get
was
stuck,
really
the
cool
thing flashed on
because
the
they
TV
had
screen.
they had a monitor up in the top left-hand corner of the room, and it was, the timer was on the monitor, so it was counting down, so you could tell exactly how much time you had left the whole time. And they had cameras and audio in the room, so they could monitor what was going on and be apprised of, you know, the things that you had come up with and whatnot. So there was also this little remote with a button on it. It was a red button. That was all that was on this remote, and you pushed it if you needed a clue. And so I think they limit you to 5 clues. And so if you get stuck and you're truly just up against a wall, you can push this button, and they'll type out a clue on that monitor. So, and it's really cool because they're watching, so they give you something that actually helps you with the point you're at in the game.
Okay.
If it was random, you know, it might give you a clue about something you'd already figured out, you know. So it was really neat. It was like Big Brother was watching, but they were also helping, and it was really cool.
I told her, I was like, yeah, know what we should do? Next time we should all go, but actually not try and solve it. Just sit there and, like, you know, just talk about random crap. Be like, these guys spent like $20 to just talk.
Sit in the room and
like,
talk.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, we're busy people.
Yeah, it was so much fun. We had a blast. And we, like I said, we got out with 10 minutes to spare, basically, and we were so pumped. We were full of adrenaline, and so our plan was, knowing that we'd be full of this adrenaline, we were going to go to a trampoline park right after that. And so we did that, and we found out how fast adrenaline gets spent, and we were basically done after about 15 minutes. But we soldiered on. We still messed around for the full hour, and man, we slept like rocks last night.
Nice.
It was awesome.
Welcome to episode 13 of the Animation Station.
Yeah, lucky number 13.
My name's Josh, and I'm here with, what's it called?
I don't know. What are you going for?
What was that room that you went to?
The More Escape Room.
Escape room and trampoline enthusiast, Gavin Otteson.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
I try to make that sound way cooler than
that was the
like,
most
it
impressive.
It did not roll off the tongue very well at all.
No, you should go into like voiceover work or something, because that intro was epic.
I should.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
It was amazing.
Disney, call me.
Yeah.
Then throw away the application.
So I don't think we're gonna do much news this week, because
we're not gonna do any news,
pre-recording
Gavin.
early. Because next week, when we would typically record, I'm going to be in the happiest place on earth,
Colorado.
Disneyland.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll be enjoying the Disneyland Resort for several days. And so we're pre-recording this, and I plan to come back with some reactions and updates and information on the Disneyland Resort. I really want to come back and talk about things that you can experience in the park that are directly related to animation. There are several, and so I want to kind of come back. I want to go and do all of those things so that they're fresh in my mind, and then come back and talk about those things.
Nice.
The coolest thing about Disneyland, and the reason why I love it so much, is it was really built on animation, and so much of it is directly tied to the animated worlds that Disney has created and then created again in physical form in the parks. And I love that. And that's why going to Disney parks is my favorite thing to do. And so that's what I'll be doing on our subsequent episode. I'll be kind of describing and giving reviews of those experiences that you can have in the parks that are directly tied to animation.
Nice. Are you going to go watch the guys draw?
I'll probably do some of that. It just depends. You never know when they're going to be around in the spots that they are drawing.
Do they sell those?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You can commission
Are they
them.
ridiculously
They
expensive?
sit there and they draw during their shift the whole time, and sometimes they're working on commissions, and I think sometimes they're just drawing to get you interested so that you'll buy something. I think like a one character sheet is like $40.
That's not awful.
It's not terrible, and they're usually they're monochromatic drawings. They might have like a light color pencil, like a red or a blue that they rough it in with, and then they go over it with a black to kind of crisp it up, and that's it. But yeah, really I'll talk about it on the next episode, but there are actually more things that you can interact with and do yourself. So
Sweet.
I'll talk about that.
There's not an Epcot at Land, is there?
No, they have.
So you can't eat around the world?
No, not specifically like that. No, what they have
in
California is they have two parks. There's Disneyland, the original, and then California Adventure, right? And California Adventure has been described by many as the park that took a lot of the highlights from the Magic Kingdom, or not the Magic Kingdom, the Disney World parks like Epcot and Hollywood Studios and even Animal Kingdom, and took some of those highlights and put it all into one park.
That's kind of cool.
It is cool, and I love California Adventure. It has gone through, I think it was like a $6 or $8 billion renovation over the last 6 years to kind of reinvigorate it, because when it first opened it fell flat and didn't really work. And so they brought in a team and they just gave it new life. They built Cars Land, and they just totally reinvigorated.
Which I wonder if you'll be going to Cars Land.
I'll probably spend an entire day just in Cars Land.
Yeah.
I always do. Anyway, and it's considered by most people to be the best second gate park in the whole Disney spectrum of parks. And what I mean by second gate park is the Disneyland or Disneyland-like parks. So like in the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland, Shanghai Disneyland, like those are always the top park wherever they are. And then there's always 2 or 3 other parks at each resort, and the second best park is, whatever at each resort. But they're pretty much, everybody considers California Adventure now the second best park.
Nice.
To be totally confusing. Anyway, so that's what I'll be doing when I come back.
Eat a Dole Whip for me.
I might eat a Dole Whip. Yeah, okay.
I don't know what again, I've never been to any of the parks.
I mean, it's a pineapple, ice creamy, soft servy float thing.
Sounds delicious.
It is delicious.
So eat a Dole Whip for
I'll do
your
that.
old buddy.
I'll do that just for
eat
you.
one of those while you're like, Josh is stuck in Oklahoma, sucker. Yeah, do that.
I'll do that. I'll do it just for you.
But yeah, are you going to be doing anything special down there? Maybe if some people happen to come find you?
I would love to meet up with anybody who wants to hang out and chat, and I will have some Animation Station buttons to hand out.
They're so cool.
And I'll also be handing out some Gavin Audison art buttons. And
I need one of those.
I'll have some trading cards and things like that available. So yeah, come track me down, find me. Either message me on Instagram or tweet at me, although that's equivalent to sending up a smoke signal. I probably won't see it. But yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and get into our topic here. We watched Monster House.
Yes, we did.
For our fourth week
of Spooktober.
I had to remember because we just did like the last episode.
Yeah. I am excited to talk about this movie.
You have all the news. See, when it's here's the way it's gonna go. Whenever it's a movie that I want to talk about, like when it's my pick, I'm gonna do all the research.
Right. When
it's your pick, you're totally gonna do all that research.
Well, and to be fair though, we picked. This was a mutual pick.
Yeah.
But I kind of took on the mantle of researcher for all of the Spooktober because 4 out of the 5 are movies that I've seen, that I know and love, that you've never seen. So I researched all of them, and this one is no exception. So I did a little bit of research, and there are some interesting facts about this movie. First fact, I had no idea that it was this old already. This came out in 2006.
Oh, geez, really?
Yeah,
I thought it was
it's
like
a decade
2010.
Old. I know,
Holy
it
crap.
doesn't feel like it's been that long. So, I didn't see it in the theater. Did you see it when it was in theaters?
No.
I wish I would have.
I think I saw it on a choir trip.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's dark days.
So, I didn't see it in the theater, but I wish I would have, because some of the effects in it seem like they would be really impressive in the theater.
Yeah.
And, I wish I would have, but I didn't. So 2006 is when it came out. It is executive produced by 2 titans of the industry, Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg. They pooled their talents for the first time since they had done it together on Back to the Future 3. So, 2 major names in Hollywood coming together to make an animated film. You're going to get some quality there. So that is impressive, to say the least. One thing about the animation in this movie is they really used a lot of what the ImageMovers studio was pioneering at the time, which was motion capture. And that's how they...
That's mocapped?
Yeah. A lot of the motion... all of the actors basically were motion capture. And so that's why you have a really unique looking movie when it comes to the way the characters move and interact with each other and affect their environments. And I think that, it was obviously early in the motion capture days. And I think it has some limitations, but I like the way that it looks, and I like the way that they move. I think the only limitations where characters are concerned in this movie is facial expressions. We've talked about it on some other movies as well, most recently on Corpse Bride, where we didn't feel like the facial expressions were really fully realized. And I think that's true of this movie. But anyway, before we get to talking about what we think about the movie, a few more things. So this movie was, like I said, it was one of the production companies that made it. It was ImageMovers and Amblin Entertainment. And ImageMovers is actually a company with a strong Disney connection, because there was a period of time where Disney Studios was partnering with ImageMovers, and they actually made 2 feature films together.
What'd they make?
The first one was A Christmas Carol, which is one I haven't seen yet. It was the one with Jim Carrey, where he played like all the parts.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it looked really good, and I've heard from some people that I know that it is really good, and there's some neat elements to it and effects that they pulled off. So I am interested in seeing it. I'll probably make that one of my holiday watches this year. Mm-hmm. And then they also created one of my favorite, totally unnoticed Disney movies of all time.
Oliver and Company.
No, not even close. Mars Needs Moms. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I think it is a wonderful movie, and nobody I know watched it, and that's sad to me. Maybe I'll make you watch it one day. Maybe I'll invite you to watch it, and you'll be like, you know what? Gavin's shown me some really dynamite things. I'll go watch it. Anyway.
No, I have plenty of things to invite you over to come watch. How about that?
That's true. Well, maybe we can make an exchange. A movie exchange.
Starship Troopers.
I've already seen Starship Troopers.
Well, it's okay. It doesn't lessen the effect.
Great. Anyway, So
Cats for Vending, call me.
I think that this movie is an interesting point in animation because 2005 is early in companies like Disney really adopting CG animation, and DreamWorks I feel like had fully transferred over, and Pixar, obviously the pioneer of the industry, had transferred over. But I think movies like this that came along and that were big successes probably helped Disney really transition into doing nothing but 3D animation from here on out. I mean, I think after this there was only one, because I think Home on the Range came out in 2005. So then the last one, Princess and the Frog, which came out in I think 2007. I mean, I don't see them ever doing a 2D animation movie again.
The 2D's so good, though.
I agree. I want them to, but I don't know. It'll be a while before they do. I mean, at this point, they'd have to rehire a whole studio, basically, to do 2D animation.
Yeah.
When
is their 75th?
Their 75th what?
Anniversary.
Of what? Disney animation?
Yeah.
That passed a while ago.
When's their 100th? Maybe for their 100th.
It's going to be in 2023, so we're about 7 years away.
Well, there you go. Well, a lot of stuff is happening in the 2020s. There's the Akira is taking place in Japan.
Okay.
They're landing that satellite on the. Has nothing to do with animation. Okay, forget it.
All right, so let's get into it and talk about what we thought of Monster House. So I've seen it before.
Me too.
And you've seen it before.
This is the only
one. So this
one
is the only one during Spooktober that we've both seen. Now this is my first rewatch of the movie, and it really held up for me. I hadn't seen it for probably 8-9 years.
Jeez.
And yeah, I had an impression of it, and I forgot a lot of it, but this movie really stood up for me, and I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Yeah, I've seen this, like I said, saw it on a choir trip probably 2008.
Mm-hmm. That's 8 years ago, dude.
I'm not done.
Okay.
So back in 2008, then I know I've seen it multiple times on Cartoon Network, because they'll do a thing where they'll just, especially around this time of year, they'll start throwing a bunch of animated stuff on there. And Monster House is like the best one that they've got.
Nice.
Like, they'll throw some other garbage in there, like I don't know, like the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Halloween special. But yeah, they'll.
Did you just make that up?
No, I did not. But yeah, they like an Ed and Eddie garbage and stuff like that. But they would always show this, and I don't know, I've maybe seen this maybe 7 or 8 times.
Oh wow!
Just because it'll be on, and I'll just pop on a game or something, play it with it in the background, stop at some scenes, be like, ha, like that.
Well, the thing that I love about this movie, and we've mentioned it several times on the podcast before, and even on our last episode when we talked about Paranorman, I think there is something that people gravitate towards in filmmaking of this ilk, and it was something that was captured in the 80s. And it's this kind of kid adventure.
When is this movie set?
Spooky. It's supposed to be set in the late 80s.
Okay.
According to clues and things that you see in there. I read a little bit about it, and what I read is that the predominant theory is that it's 1987. Because of, let me see if I can remember.
Of the Atari?
The game that the dude is playing, he's playing that arcade game, and it's called, what is it called? It's called something else, but it's actually
Gauntlet.
The visual that you see, it's like Conan the Barbarian or something like that, and it came out in 87. And so that's part of it. And there was one other.
Because it came out in 87.
It was because
Galaga you can still find.
Halloween was on a Saturday in this movie, and the only Saturday Halloween in the 80s was 1987. And I think,
wow,
yeah, really nerdy
that's
people
crazy.
went and found that and determined that this is from '87. But the cars, the clothes, everything about it screams one of those '80s
Well, I only
movies.
say that because
I
like
read
that Mountain Dew logo that they have on there is like the '90s Mountain Dew logo.
When did it change over to that logo, though?
You know what? It could have been very.
It
well
might
the
have been
80s.
late '80s, yeah. So, and I read a critical review of it where the critic described this as kind of a new Goonies for kids of the early 2000s. And
except this was better than Goonies.
Oh man, you don't like Goonies?
No, it's garbage.
Okay, well that hurts a little. But what is it? I mean, Stranger Things. I mean, even you go back to like Freaks and Geeks, and then Stranger Things, and so many of these creepy kind of scary movies are set in the '80s, and they wanted to give it that '80s look. There's this incredible nostalgia for that type of filmmaking and those types of stories. And I love it. I enjoy the heck out of it. And I'm glad that they're making that. I'm just really always surprised that there's example after example after example of, creating a film or a show in this genre and making it look as much as they can like it's from the 80s.
Well, because I think what it is you have this point in like pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
The 80s, everyone loved the 80s. You have but once 1990 hit,
mm-hmm.
until like 97, that's a garbage time frame.
For movies.
No, I mean and just in popular culture.
Wow.
I mean like dress, music, it's all poo.
Wow.
But hold
Wow.
on, I'm not done.
I totally
when
disagree.
you start to get 98, 99 into the thousands, that's when everything starts to pop up again.
See,
and so people can remember that stuff very fondly. But, okay, maybe 94. I would say maybe 94 onwards.
This is
but
where clearly I'm older than you because
What was the best part about 1991, Gavin?
Pearl Jam.
What was the best part about 1992, Gavin? Pearl Jam.
92? Oh, that's a good question.
The Barcelona Olympics. What's the best thing about
1993?
1993?
Oh, no. Michael Jackson's Dangerous album.
What's the best thing about 1993? Okay, but I'm talking about like.
I can keep going.
I'm talking about the dress and the stuff that was
I don't
on
care
TV
about. We're not talking about fashion.
No, yeah, that's
what
I'm talking. No, because it all goes.
Roseanne was in its prime in
the
early 90s,
that's awful.
and I love Roseanne.
That's atrocious.
Now, see, this is a generational thing because I'm older than you, and
not by a whole bunch.
By the early 90s, I'm older than you.
I was around in the early 90s.
I know, but I mean that time period that you said 90 to 97. Yeah. I'm at least 7 years older than you, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
How old are you? What are you, 14, 15?
17 and a half.
Okay. I figured because you like, the shows that you like.
I was born in 88, so, I mean, I do have a little bit of that
I'm
time frame.
11 years older than you, dude.
So
then that it makes sense, though, that there's that whole swath of things that is at a time where you were a little kid and you're like, I don't care about this stuff, but the 80s are far enough back
that's what I'm talking about.
It seems cool and retro to you.
The 80s was cool, like the 80s stuff was cool stuff because you still have a little bit of that bleed.
Yeah, but to you it's just retro. To me, it's nostalgic because I lived it. It's
not really retro. I was one. So, suck it. I was one in 1989. So, technically, I was in the 80s.
Right. Yeah, you were in the 80s, but you don't remember the 80s. You didn't experience the 80s.
Oh, and you experienced the 80s.
Absolutely.
At the tender age of 11.
Absolutely. I remember so much about that decade and what it was like. I mean, when I watch these movies, it reminds me of, like, my neighborhood and the cars that I would see and the clothes that I would see and... I wasn't a teenager. I wasn't out having these similar adventures.
I also lived in Shawnee, and the 90s came in like 97. That's when like 1990 hit in Shawnee. So I still had all of that 80s stuff. But I mean, yeah,
nice.
People. That's why I think people like that time frame.
Okay.
Because I mean, until you get to like 1994, then it's just kind of like, nothing really.
Okay, well, let's not get sidetracked in what we think about the 90s. Let's talk about the 80s and when this movie was set. So, do you feel like they successfully captured
Not as
feel
well as Stranger
of
Things.
the 80s. Well, very few things do.
I didn't feel the 80s. I felt it was like old, but that's why I had to ask because I'm like, what year is this?
So
it's confusing to me.
What range could it have been to you? Could it have been as early as the 70s to you?
No, I was thinking it was like the 90s.
Really?
Like I was thinking
with those cars and with the clothing?
Yeah, but he also has
the only
cordless
thing is,
phone.
yeah, that cordless phone is the only thing to me that throws it off. That's the only thing in the whole movie. But they did have cordless phones back then. I don't think they were that sleek.
Yeah, this was
like... But they did have cordless phones.
Cordless. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay, sure.
But it had that antenna that you could pull out. He just never pulled it out. You could see that.
Yeah.
And I kept waiting for him to pull it out, but he never does.
Yeah, we had one of those.
Yeah.
Like I said,
pretty awesome.
The 80s lasted a while in Shawnee.
Yeah, yeah. And, the other thing was, when did Star 69 get invented? Because he does Star 69.
He Star 69 somebody.
So we should look that up and see.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
But anyway, I thought they did a great job. That sweater that he wears the whole time, I basically had that exact same thing. It wasn't turtleneck, but that cool like red and blue and beige striped
the colors
sweater.
Of the 80s.
I loved it. It was so cool. I thought it was great. But I don't know. I really revel in those types of things, and a lot of it is nostalgia. But I also do like the aesthetic that was put forth in that genre back in the day, and then when it's recreated now. And I find it very enjoyable. Now, the thing that I think sets this movie apart from a lot of other animated movies is I think at parts it's really creepy and even scary.
Yeah, I wanted to go into this. Like the animation is so. Like the animation's good.
I think it's better than so. I think it's good, solidly good.
Well, I mean,
especially for being 10 years old.
Just going off of what we just watched. I'm basically comparing it to
right, Paranorman, Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
So far, it's in that middle category for me.
Mm-hmm.
Animation wise, just because I haven't seen a lot of animation that looks like that.
Yeah.
Because it's different. It's definitely different.
It has a unique look.
But the story on this is like some R.L. Stein's Goose Bumpy,
yes!
all kinds of stuff.
80s,
which is awesome.
80s books.
Yeah. Like Animorphs.
It's so good.
Just kidding,
I don't know what that is. Yeah.
Scholastic. No.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's great, and it's intense, and it just has this great climax. It's like a long.
It's called a climax.
Well, I was going to say climactic, and then I paused.
It's climaxed. No.
Yeah. Anyway, it's this long climax where it's just this epic ending, and I think they hold it at this fever pitch, and they do it so well that you don't get tired of it, and it concludes beautifully. And man, I just think they really bring home the story. I agree. Now, it is kind of strange to have a contemporary story where they bring in a circus freak.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, they did kind of, show some stuff. Like, he's definitely in some war. I think it may have been World War II.
Yeah, well, he said 45 years, so that would have been maybe Korea.
No, 45 years. If it's in 87, because...
Oh, yeah,
World War
it's in 87. I forget it's in 87.
45.
You're right.
So, yeah,
probably
we
World
have
War
some
II.
time frame.
You're right. Yeah, so, it was a different era.
Alan Alda wasn't in it, so it wasn't a Korean War.
But, yeah, I found it interesting. And the fact that they bring that character in as, a sideshow attraction, and they show you the abuse that she received, and then they show you her pretty horrific, untimely death.
Jeebus.
And the moment when the kids discover her spot of her death, they bring in some hardcore, intense stuff in this movie, and it's something that Disney, I don't think, would ever do.
Oh,
I don't think Pixar would ever do it. I really don't think DreamWorks would ever do it.
Disney will shoot your mom in the face, but they're not going to show you, the body.
Well, they're not even going to show you the face getting shot.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean...
this is we show the death.
I don't think...
We show the outline of her, corpse,
Yeah.
and then we see her skeleton too.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Man. I'm impressed by that, and I wish more studios. I guess I wish there were more independent studios or smaller studios who were willing to take risks like that and give us something that has a little more meat to it.
Like Leica. Leica's like the only one that's like actually
Leica
pulling stuff out.
Leica has brought some stuff like that too. I agree.
They hit more on the social issues though.
Yeah, I agree with that. This one was just kind of just a straight up like horror genre, scary, creepy thing. And I love the way that they gave this house life and gave it a face and gave it a uvula. And
I don't have one of those.
They played on this whole, it's actually taking on human characteristics. And I found it really fun and entertaining in that way. So you mentioned the animation. So for me, the human characters, I thought they moved really well. I think the facial expressions needed some work. I think the technology wasn't quite there yet. And
I'd love for them to do Monster House 2.
Other than that, though, I do like the characters' design. I think the main kid, he screws it up a couple times.
Mike,
so I can't remember if it's
from Stranger Things.
Yeah, basically, it's either DJ or JD. I can't remember.
I think it's
because he screws it up a couple times when he's nervous.
Yeah, I think she calls him DJ, but I think
Is
it's
it DJ? JD.
Whatever.
Well, see, I grew up. One of my cousin's names, he went by JD,
Scrubs.
so I kept thinking JD, but I think it's DJ. I can't remember. Anyway, that kid, I really like his design.
Yeah.
And I love the little girl that comes in the second half of the story.
Yes.
She's cute as a button.
I wonder if we're going to have the same opinion on the other character.
He was a little ill-conceived as far as his look. I feel like I get where they were going, but it didn't seem like he was finished.
We just wanted Fat Boy comic relief for that character, and it's one I don't like that type of character. I mean, I understand why the character's
you've got
there.
one in every one of those. The Sandlot, Goonies, and there's always one.
I don't feel like you need that in this movie. I mean, it was funny enough as it was.
Yeah.
And really, it didn't need to be so... You don't need that character in this type of movie.
I don't think they played it up that much, though.
Are you kidding me? At the beginning. Like, once she gets in there... It kind of tapers off a little bit, but before, when it's just the two of them, that's way too much. Like when he goes to Ding Dong Ditch, the doorbell, he's all like crawling, like it's a bottle. It's like, get out of my face, like, get off the screen. I hope the house eats you and you're done. I don't want to see you in the rest of this movie.
Well, I didn't hate him that much, but I did feel like he was the weakest of the trilogy or trio of characters there. But I felt like the environments that they were in were fairly well done. I loved the lighting of the movie. I thought they did a good job with that. Again, it's 10 years old, so watching it, I did notice, okay, we've kind of progressed along from this in the world of 3D animation. Some of the rich textures that we're used to from DreamWorks and Pixar and Disney aren't there, but they're really close. There's that opening segment where we're looking at the light glowing through an orange fall leaf, and it falls from the tree, and we do this whole swirling, swooping thing down through the tree, and then along the sidewalk, and then that little girl like kicks up all the leaves with her tricycle, and I just love the color and the vibrancy and the texture of that scene, and it sets the movie up so well.
Yeah.
And it leads you to the front yard of this scary house and this scary man that comes out, and so I think it's, especially for its time, it's really good looking.
Yeah, and there's that one scene where he goes to bed and the house,
the shadow of it comes into the room.
That is so good. It's so cool.
It is really cool. I like it. And interestingly, that is one of the things that people have told me is really cool about A Christmas Carol that I mentioned earlier.
They do stuff like that?
They said that you have to watch the background all the time because there's a lot of shadow play that happens during the movie. So it really piqued my interest, and I we should definitely watch that this holiday season.
Yeah, we should.
Put it on our list.
There is another great little bit. This is the second movie in a row that we have super cool posters on the wall.
Yes.
Like he's got that poster of a T-Rex like skateboarding that says T-Rexcellent.
Yeah, it says I'm T-Rexcellent.
I'm T-Rexcellent. That's so cool.
It's so 80s too. It's like tubular, man. So good. So, okay, I want to talk about one other thing. Now, we talked about our difference in age. One of the things that I love about movies set in this era and set in this time of year is trick-or-treating. You know, I told you when that Amblin Entertainment logo came up, it always makes me want to watch E.T. And I love that movie, and I will always love that movie. And that's another example of an 80s movie where the kids go trick-or-treating. And that is such a huge part of my childhood. And it left, you know, a really impactful mark on my life, that experience of trick-or-treating every year. And feeling free and safe to just walk throughout the neighborhood after dark with my friends and knock on people's doors, yell trick-or-treat, get candy, move along, just have a blast in our costumes and just have a whole night of frolicking after dark. And you know, then coming home and gobbling up a bunch of candy, going to bed with a stomachache and blah, blah, blah. And I love that. And that's a part of kid culture that doesn't really exist anymore. So was that a part of your childhood?
No.
Did you have that ever?
No. See, we lived in the country.
Okay.
And there weren't any kids.
So you didn't have
close.
like a neighborhood?
No, I didn't have a neighborhood.
Plus, were you on like property where it was like the next person was like a half mile away?
No. I mean, we were in like like an addition, but there were no kids.
Oh, so it just happened to be that your neighborhood didn't have any kids.
Yeah. I mean, there were some that were like
did you know, like, did you have friends that you knew that trick-or-treated? Or was that just not really a thing for you?
I don't know. Just,
man,
that's
a part of culture that
I didn't care.
To me, that's a uniquely American thing, experience.
Well, dude, but I mean,
that
people
is
used
gone.
to put like syringes and stuff, and there's the Tylenol stuff.
There's urban legends ruin everything. First of all, one razor blade found itself into a candy bar one time, and there's serial killers behind every door. Well, of course.
Plus, I don't like scary things. So I never really liked Halloween because the whole purpose of that is like, oh, you're gonna get scared.
Trick-or-treating wasn't scary. Trick-or-treating wasn't scary though. It was fun, I mean, it wasn't.
I guess I think we haunted the zoo a couple times when I was young.
What is that?
You go around the zoo
and
get candy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they just had like stations where you could go up and
people would have candy. And
okay. They kind of do that same thing at Disneyland. It's called Mickey's Halloween Party, and you can show up and your kids can dress up in costumes and you go around to different. I'm going to the Halloween party.
Are you going to get like a bunch of candy?
No, I don't do the trick-or-treating thing.
Are you going to get a bunch of candy and bring it back home for Josh?
I might buy you some candy while I'm there, but I'm not going to do the Halloween party trick-or-treating thing.
I will take that. I will accept that challenge.
I'll bring you a piece of candy.
To eat the candy.
I'll bring you a candied apple. I'll carry it home in my hands on the plane.
Shit. Be sure and put a couple razor blades in it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So be like, childhood.
Yeah, here's what you missed out on in the 80s. So that's really sad to me, though, that you never had that experience. Now, to you, I mean, you don't know what you're missing, basically, so it doesn't matter. But I find it a little bit depressing that, kids that are growing up right now aren't going to have that experience. Now, they've replaced it with certain things, like a lot of community centers and churches will have, like Halloween parties where
but they're not Halloween parties.
Come
they're
into
like
this safe
festivals.
environment. Well, right, exactly. And so there are sort of replacements for it, but it's not the same. And I wonder if kids that watch movies like this now that, see trick-or-treating happening, if they really get it, if they understand what it is, and do any of them go out after the movie and they're like, Mom, we want to do that. We want to go trick-or-treating. Let's go trick-or-treating.
Well, see,
I wonder if that happens.
I don't know because I don't know, again, I don't know any, a lot of young kids nowadays.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, I could go probably pick one up off the street and, ask them, maybe grill them a little bit, like, hey. But
yeah, you'll probably get in trouble.
I have some kids that I can ask. But I don't know if they have like the appreciation for like the nostalgia movies anymore.
Yeah.
Because like especially the kids that are let's see, what is this? 2016. So if you get someone who's like born in like 2008, is like the nostalgia of the 90s and the 80s are like. I don't care about that because honestly, like for me, I don't like movies that take place in like the 50s and 60s because I just don't care. Like, what was?
So you just don't have an interest in like retro things, really?
Well, I mean, I like retro things. I don't have really that much
to
interest
eras
in that
are
type of era.
At least somewhat nostalgic because you lived at least adjacent to those eras.
Yeah, like. The 70s don't care about the 70s.
See, for me, I love all the old things because I have an affinity for
50s,
retro things. No, I mean, I was born in the 70s, in the era of disco and funk.
And the Bee Gees.
And the Bee Gees.
Which you don't like the Bee Gees.
I don't like the Bee Gees?
Who doesn't like the Bee Gees?
Maybe I don't know. I love the Bee Gees.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. I think there are still going to be people that come along that love old things. Like, every one of my favorite things existed before I was born. Like, everything I love happened before me. So I do love the 80s and the 90s and a lot since then that I've experienced, and I have nostalgia for those things. But all of my very favorite things at the core of my being happened before me. And I'm not unique. Like, there are a lot of people out there who just love older things. So I think there would be a lot of people who would, find that element in a movie or a show of trick-or-treating that never experienced it would be fascinated by it and be interested in it. I'm just sad that they can't ever go experience that.
Yeah, it's not going
to happen.
No.
Yeah. So now, do we have anything else, or do we want to go into the top 5?
Well, we have to say what we thought about this movie. We have to.
Oh, I always forget to rate it.
I know.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It is weird.
You're the one who wanted to do that anyway. But okay, so we do the review. I mean, would we recommend this movie?
Yes, I think, like I said before, it is one of the scariest animated movies I've seen. So I would definitely caution, people showing it to very young children. But it is so cool and entertaining, and it's such a great adventure that I think most kids would really enjoy it. And I think it's totally entertaining for adults. I think there's, especially for people my age or even, up to 5, 10, even 15 years older than me, they're going to have a ton of nostalgia for movies like this from the 80s. And they'll see a lot of homage to things like that and, a lot of appreciation that is brought to us by these filmmakers. And so, yeah, I think I would recommend it for everybody except for young kids or kids that scare easily.
Yeah, I definitely recommend this movie.
So good.
Like I said, this was the one movie that I wanted to watch again for Halloween, just because I just like this movie. The story is so good. Yeah. And I mean, I've seen it. Like I said, I've seen it multiple times. But sitting there, I'm like, oh, here comes this part. Oh, I forgot when that gets all crazy. Yeah, it's really, really good. Yeah, and I do like the character interactions and love story. So obviously, it's a recommend for Josh.
A bit of a love story, yes. And
he kissed a girl. He kissed a girl on the lips.
He did, and it made him brave. I'm so glad we did watch this because, like I said, it's been 8-9 years since I saw it, and I had forgotten most of it. So it was like seeing a new movie again, and I was entertained from A to Z.
So for my ranking scale, out of Dipper Pines, I'm going to give this a solid 4.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't do those points.
I'm starting to get a little more, precise with my rankings, and I may have to end up going and adjust some of the previous ones. Anyway, for this one, out of Jiminy Crickets, I'm going to rate it a 3.5. And the only reason it gets points off for me is just some of the limitations of 3D animation at the time. But that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
All right, man.
Okay, so time for the top 5?
Let's do it.
And now for another top 5.
All right, you ready to do the top 5?
Let's do it.
All right, this week we're doing top 5 animated houses or dwellings or places of residence.
I wanted to put ships on here.
Hey, if they're living on a ship, do it,
I
man.
thought that would
I almost put a ship.
That would be better if we did a top 5 ships.
Is there enough ships?
Yeah, dude.
Really?
I was thinking, I had 3 of them that I wanted to put on here, but then I was like, I've got 3, so why don't we just do ships?
That people live on.
Yeah. I also have a lot of anime.
They do a lot of ships in anime?
Yeah, dude.
I
Bebop,
can't think of
Outlaw
any.
Star.
Oh, you're including spaceships.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
thinking
like
just
spaceships.
traditional ships on the
no.
high seas.
Who cares about ships on the high seas?
I do.
Name like 5 ships. Like, that's hard. I'm talking
That's
like.
what I was
Listen,
saying.
it's like spaceships. Like it's the same thing with animated vehicles.
If they live on the ship, then it's a house.
Yeah.
Why didn't you include that?
Because it's a ship, and I wanted to. I
So
didn't
you
include
specifically
them
because you
I
want
wanted
to do another
top
list.
5 ships
Okay.
later.
Okay, we'll do top 5 ships later. Now we did
We will.
vehicles. Did you not do any ships in there?
No, just because that's more of like a residence type thing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
really we're just doing like houses, dwellings, residences, like
Yes.
more traditional things you would consider as houses,
Yeah.
haunted or otherwise.
And, yeah, and I went first last time, so no, you
No,
went
I
first
did.
last time,
I
so
did.
that's
Yeah.
what I meant. I
Yeah.
go first this time.
Okay, do it.
So for my number 5, this will be fun because you're gonna throw it back at me.
What?
My number 5, I went with in a little video game called Minecraft.
You went video game?
Yeah, but I didn't go like in the actual video game. But I went with the achievement hunters. I went with Achievement City, which there's a beautiful map of it right there.
I'm
So
so
it's
confused
technically
right
in
now.
game,
Uh-huh.
but they live there. Like their characters live there. They have houses and everything like that.
You're going to have to explain this.
Okay, so for my number 5, I went with.
Don't change it.
I went with. I don't want. It's going to be too hard. I went with from Batman the Animated Series. I went with Stately Wayne Manor.
Oh.
Yes,
So what's so neat about it in the animated series?
dude, it's Batman's home, man.
Yeah,
it's
it
a
seems the same in
ridiculously
everyone.
huge
It's a
mansion,
big mansion.
and then underneath you got the Batcave.
Yeah, that's the only neat thing about it, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a big
This
mansion.
was hard
Really?
because I couldn't do ships.
Well, you could have. You ruled it out yourself.
Yeah,
Okay. So you made it hard on yourself.
I made it harder for myself.
Okay. Man. Okay. Well, I mean, I like Wayne Manor or whatever it's called. That's cool.
If we go back to the '66 Batman, it's Stately Wayne
Stately,
Manor.
but you
must
didn't
call
pick
it
that one.
Stately Wayne
You
Manor.
picked the animated series.
But still, it's stately.
Okay. Stately Wayne Manor. Good pick. I like it. My turn?
I'm not 100% sure you do. Go ahead.
No,
What's
I
your
do.
number
I'm
5?
fine with that. You just know I'm not into superheroes.
Stupid
But as
thing.
superheroes go, that's a pretty good one, man. I do like that. What is it? The Ice Palace or whatever that Superman has in
The Fortress of
in
Solitude?
the Christopher Reeves movies.
The Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's his man cave.
Yeah, eat your heart out, Elsa. Anyway, number 5 for me is, and I picked this one just because it's in the most beautiful setting, and it just looks so aesthetically pleasing.
San Francisco?
No, Rapunzel's Tower, which
I
to
wanted
me
to
is
put that
just
in there.
pure eye candy. It's such a neat little thing, and it's just basically a couple of rooms at the top of a stone tower, but it's so beautiful. It's covered in flowers, and it's in that secluded little tiny valley of its own that's surrounded by cliffs and a waterfall, and I don't know, it's just idyllic.
Yeah, it's very
I love
pretty.
it.
It's very pretty, except that when you think about it, that's like a kidnapper's home.
Yeah, but I wouldn't live there with them. I mean, if I could
So you'd
recreate
rent
it,
it out.
or if I could just evict them or something, yeah.
So
I'd
you want
take
to
over.
go to Rapunzel and be like, hey, so that tower
She
that
lives
you
in the-
got.
in
I know
the
she's got
palace.
a palace there.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, so that tower that you got. Anybody living there? Anybody squatting there?
Oh,
Can
I'm
I?
sure Mother Gothel's in the stocks, right? I mean, she's not like
I know she's dead.
Roman free. Oh yeah, she's
She's
dead. I
dead.
forgot. She's dead. Yeah. So it's free. It's open.
Well, I mean, I think you would still have to, rent it or something.
Maybe.
She may give you the keys. When you're in Disney,
This isn't
Go to
this
Rapunzel.
isn't top 5 properties I like to rent.
When you go to Disney, ask Rapunzel if you could have her tower, since there's nobody living there anymore.
I don't know if she's current. Oh no, she. Okay, yeah, I know where to find her. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
you
ask
should
her.
ask her.
I will.
Ask her we won't rent it.
Okay.
And then from now on, we'll record in Rapunzel's tower.
Yes.
All right, so my number 4.
You do live on the top floor here. We could call this Rapunzel's Tower.
Yeah, that's not weird. My number 4, I'm going to go a little Cartoon Network show called codename Kids Next Door.
Oh,
And
I've
I
heard of
went
that one.
with their treehouse.
Oh, do they live in this treehouse?
Basically.
So, no, but they play in it.
Yeah, they play in it. I mean,
That's
you can
an
live
epic
there.
treehouse.
They all have rooms there with beds and everything.
It's what, 10 times the size of the actual house?
Yeah, and they've all got there's like 5 different rooms. Got all kind. Well, I mean, there's 5 of them, so they have 5 like different bedrooms.
Okay.
There's like all kinds of crazy stuff in there.
Like
I said, this was hard for me.
It's very huge. That's weird. It shouldn't be that hard. There's tons of. I mean, every.
Yeah, it shouldn't be hard, but for Josh, I was like, no.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good looking tree house. It's very good. I don't think I thought of any tree houses in any of mine.
It's technically a house, so.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like it.
Go for it.
All right, my number 4. I'm staying with Disney. Most of mine are Disney.
No.
Except the number 1 isn't, but all of them up till there are. Anyway, number 4 for me is the Robinsons house from Meet the Robinsons. And I picked this house. It is a cool house. It's a very ultra-modern, neat-looking house. Mm-hmm. But I picked it mostly for the people who are in it.
In the house, yeah.
Because I want to just go there and have a zany day with the Robinsons. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
So,
I like it.
I want to go hear a frog concert, and I want to
Plus, the house is super cool,
family
too.
shenanigans.
You know, all the crazy stuff in it, yeah.
Maybe hang out with a T-Rex, whatever.
T-Rex.
The Robinsons house. Yeah.
My number 3 is going to be... Well, it's a house from Meet the Robinsons. I put that on there.
Did you really?
Yeah, I put the house from Meet the Robinsons.
So
yeah,
good.
we already talked about it.
So good.
Number 2.
We're going to watch that one, right? One day?
Yeah, it's going to be on there. So it's number 3, not number 2.
Number 3, yeah. So my number 3 is, we're going to go large scale now. I'm choosing the Palace at Agrabah from a little movie called Aladdin. And I picked this because to me it was either...
It's just a palace.
It's just a palace. Have you seen that place?
Yeah, it's just
It's
a
amazing.
palace.
Okay, Jasmine, you're not impressed with the palace.
I mean, no, but it's just a palace.
Wow.
That's like saying, I want it to be Cinderella's castle.
I mean,
That's your number 2,
like,
we know,
no,
but...
it's not.
Yeah,
I
yours
mean,
is
that's
like
not really a
Geppetto's
thing.
shack.
Like, the Palace at Agrabah is a huge part of that movie. It's giant marble Arabic design. It's gorgeous. It's this big open air, magnificent thing with that huge elephant throne, which is cool.
I'm not saying it's not cool. It's just like, it's just a palace.
It's not just a palace. It's magnificent.
Okay.
So for me, I really wanted to pick
You also are in love with Jasmine. So.
I wanted to pick a big Disney, like palace, castle, something big Disney. And so it really came down to between that or the Beast's Castle. And
that actually has some cool stuff in it.
Okay, Josh. But I really didn't like the environment of that one. I didn't
It's
want
on top of a
snowy weather
thing.
and it's all cold and
yeah, it's super cool.
No. I like summer. I like hot summer.
Well,
and so the Palace at Agrabah, to me, those dry summer breezes coming in off the desert, blowing through your,
I'm surprised
wispy
you're not wearing
curtains.
a hoodie. It's 70 degrees in this apartment. You usually freeze to death.
It's cold. Anyway, despite your poo-pooing,
Yeah, whatever.
Agrabah Palace.
My number 2,
Mm-hmm.
I went with a little show called Teen Titans, and I went with Titans Tower.
Nice. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, see, I'm nice. I'm positive.
Well, I'm still sick, so sick Josh is still here.
Still mean.
So,
Grumpy sick Josh.
yeah, dude, Titans Tower is super cool. Again,
It is cool.
They've all got their own rooms. Like, there's different floors. There's all kinds of crazy stuff in that place.
Mm-hmm.
They've got that basement. That basement's kind of where they keep
I don't
all
remember
their...
the basement.
Well, it's where they keep all their stuff. That's where Robin kind of got infected with that Slade stuff, and he kind of went crazy, and then Raven had to tap into his mind, and that's how we find out that this is actually Dick Grayson, because you see his parents basically die. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dang, Teen Titans.
Dang.
I mean, jeez.
Yeah.
Lord of mercy.
That is a cool place. I do like their tower.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Plus, it's on top of there's I can't remember, it's not Star City. whatever city that
what is
is.
it?
Central City?
I don't remember.
Maybe whatever. But whatever, you have that whole city. It's like on the bay.
Uh-huh.
It's like in the middle of the island, just like overlooking everything. Super
Right.
cool.
Nice. Very cool.
It's like the Statue of Liberty of Southern California.
Pretty much. All right. So what are we up to? Number 2?
2.
Okay. So this one is going to sound like a stretch, but I'm going to explain it, and it's not really a stretch. And it's from my favorite Pixar movie by far, which is
Andy's house?
the movie Cars. And the interesting thing about Cars is each one of the places in Radiator Springs is a business, but each of the business owners actually live there. That's where they park themselves at night.
Mm-hmm.
So each one of them
with the movie.
ultimately is a residence. It's where they live. And my favorite one in there, it's not my favorite character, although he's close. It's the Casa della Tires, owned by Luigi and operated by him and Guido. Now, I'm not sure if Guido also lives there. I think he does. They're cousins. They probably live there together. I'm not sure. Anyway, but they live there, at least one of them. Mm-hmm. And so it's a house or a residence. And
one
to
of
me,
them's a forklift, right?
Well, he's like he's kind of like a little like car
little lifty thing.
Yeah, that's Guido. And Luigi's a little Fiat, and they're awesome. But I love the actual building, the Casa della Tires, because to me it is the best example of this nostalgic retro thing that they're going for, which I think they nail at every angle in that movie. But to me, that is the best one, and it's perfect. I think It's great, and I love that it has been recreated in Cars Land in California, and it's one of the reasons. Tires? No, but they look like real tires. They really do. It's just so impressive to me, and I love going there and just looking at it and drawing it. I've drawn it several times, and there's an attraction there where you can get in little Fiats and do a little car dance. It's really fun. Anyway, I just enjoy the heck out of that building, and I think it's great. It's a masterwork of design. So
nice.
Luigi's Casa della Tires.
For my number 1, well, actually, first I had some honorable mentions.
Oh, but it was so hard to come up with examples.
Well, yeah, because I didn't I didn't want to put these in here. Like, I put Finn and Jake's treehouse from Adventure Time, but I was just like, I just kind of live there. There's like one episode where they actually do anything there. And then I put Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a cool castle.
It is very cool.
But it's also like, don't really... It's not in my top 5.
Right.
My number 1, surprisingly, would you like to hazard a wild guess at what it would be?
Is it going to be something from Gravity Falls?
Yes, the Mystery Shack from Gravity Falls.
I'm shocked.
It's because it was a toss up between this and Titan Tower. Okay. The only reason the Mystery Shack won was because I was racking my brain to try and think of a single episode where the Mystery Shack was not in the episode. Not including the opening bits or credits or anything like that. A single episode where they're not in the Mystery Shack at all. Right. I mean, there's episodes of Teen Titans where they're like off on other planets, like when they go and get, like, Starfire has to, like, take over Tamaran from Blackfire and stuff. But there's not an episode that the Mystery Shack is not in. And I'm like,
true.
That's perfect. So that's the whole shack is integral to the story. Like, most of the time, they're either at the shack, they start at the shack, they come back to the shack. It's part of the story. It's basically a character in the show. Yeah. So that's why I chose the Mystery Shack.
That's a good one.
I mean, you have the cool attic upstairs where Dipper and Mabel sleep. You have the 2-room, like you have Stan's room. You have the gift shop that's in there.
I always forget about the gift shop.
You have
the little living room or TV room.
Yeah, the living room. You have that for a shack. That place is huge.
Yeah, they call it a shack, but it's a full-on house.
Yeah, it's like a house.
Yeah.
And yet it's like it's Time Lord technology. It's bigger on the inside. But yeah, it's got the big basement downstairs that has like the freaking Stargate, pretty much.
Right.
So yeah. it's like the best house. Like when we decided to do this, I was like, well, I already know what my number one is. It's obviously
awesome. That's a good pick. I like that.
Thank you.
I figured that would make it onto your list, and I was kind of just waiting for it. So figured that was number one. So I have a couple of honorable mentions. Like I said, the Beast's Castle was in the running. And really what kept it close was that library. Oh my gosh, that library.
Where he keeps his rose.
That's the best part of it. But there's a lot of dilapidation, too, in that castle. So, Agrabah
Well,
is
yeah,
pristine.
I mean, when all of the servants are, household items, they can't really do a lot.
Kind of falls apart, yeah. So, I also had the Dwarf's Cottage from Sleeping Beauty, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And really just because it was kind of the original in feature animation, so I kind of wanted to give some throw to bone, but, it wasn't really that close. The Great Tree from Legends of the Guardians. Did you ever see that movie?
Legends of the Guardians.
It's based on the Guardians of Ga'Hoole children's series about the owls.
Is that the one with the owls? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's really beautifully animated. The Jade Palace from Kung Fu Panda.
Sure.
Which was really cool.
My gosh, you have a lot of these.
And I put Howl's Moving Castle on my honorable mention list as well.
At least we agreed on one thing.
It's nice.
Well, I guess we agreed on two things, technically.
Yeah, definitely. The Robinsons' house was in there. So my number one is from Wallace and Gromit, and it's their house at 62 West Wallaby Street in Wigan, Lancashire. And it is, to me, the definition of quaint. And it's also filled with Wallace's zany, ridiculous, unnecessary inventions, most of which malfunction unless Gromit is around to correct them. And I just think it's delightful. To me, I think from an American perspective, it's kind of what we would think of as a traditional dwelling in England, in a city. And so it kind of hits all those notes, but it just brings in this beautiful, whimsical quaintness that Aardman has a signature knack for. And I just love it. I think it's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was your number one last week?
What did we do last week? We did Monsters. It was Sully.
Sully, okay.
Sully from Monsters, Inc.
You didn't have a Were-Rabbit or anything on there?
Yeah, the Were-Rabbit was on my list.
Okay.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I thought we completely did the same thing that we did last week.
No, Were-Rabbit was number 3 for me this week.
I thought we both did Gravity Falls and Wallace and Gromit as our number ones again. I was like, jeez.
I mean, that wouldn't be bad. I mean, I'm down with Aardman, especially Wallace and Gromit. They're way up on my list.
I just noticed that there's different drawings on each of your pages of your thing. That's super cool.
Different little cartoons.
Is that the one?
It's from D23.
D23?
It was one of the annual gifts for members.
Dude, so you get like free gifts?
Every year.
Bro.
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I want to go this year. Next year.
Yeah, next July.
I should go. Mainly because I just want to hit up all that Disney XD stuff.
You probably want to go ahead and book a hotel about 5 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Just so you're aware, if you want to do it.
Well, I can sleep. I'll just get a rental car and just sleep in the car.
Sleep in the car? Yeah. That'll work. I think that'll work.
I mean, I've got deodorant,
Yeah. Just
go to the Y.
Yeah, go to the Y, take a shower.
It'll work.
Play some basketball for like 5 minutes and be like, oh, that's good for me.
Yeah.
Take a shower. I like it.
All right. I think we're ready to wrap it up.
I think that's about it.
We've been going on. This is a long one.
Yeah, there were some pauses though.
Yeah.
So.
Had to do a little bit of
So
research.
I'll see everybody when I get back from Disneyland. Woohoo!
Oh, lucky duck. Alrighty, so for the animation... No, actually, no, we're not going to do that yet. Gavin, where can everybody find yous?
Well, currently I'm in Rapunzel's Tower here at Josh Kane's apartment. And
no, we're not doing some Cloud City BS.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Gavin Audison Art.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Josh L. Kane. And you can find the show at Animation Station Podcast.
Right.
You can also check out our wonderful friends over at Cloud City Cast, Getting Into Comics, which I'm not 100% sure is a thing anymore.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it's.
Maybe.
We may have to update all of our stuff.
Yeah.
And Shaun of the Gathering.
Right.
You can also find us on our brand new website, animationstationpodcast.com.
Woo.
It's pretty bare right now.
Yeah, it's filled with all kinds of nothingness right now.
Pretty much. But
But it exists.
Yeah, but if you want to email us, maybe you want to be a guest on the show. Maybe you email us. Maybe you send me an email. You do that.
Maybe Josh can make that happen.
I've already made it happen. So all you have to do is just hit the email, and it'll send it to our email.
Excellent.
There you go. Okay, so for the Animation Station podcast, I'm Gavin.
I'm Josh. Psych.
I wanted to say like a TTFN, but it just didn't work out.
Thank you for listening to the Animation Station Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Animation Station Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Animate Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes. And join the conversation at SecretSuperheroClub.com, where you can connect with our podcast friends, Cloud City Cast, Getting Into Comics, and Shaun of the Gathering.